Welcome to the Global War Watch Network. Israel's next-generation defense systems could seriously redefine modern warfare. We're talking everything from laser shields to AI-powered tanks. So today we're going to break down these groundbreaking innovations that might just change the future of global security. I mean, we're talking about a technological leap so massive that it forces us to completely rethink what a battlefield even looks like. This is a huge shift, moving away from conventional weapons and into systems that operate at the speed of light and think with artificial intelligence. You know, for decades, Israel's defense industry has been driven by one simple but incredibly powerful idea: stay 10 steps ahead. When you're constantly facing security challenges, you don't just adapt to threats, you end up building the technology of future warfare itself. All right, first up, let's talk about air defense. Israel is already famous for its multi-layered protective shield, but now they're adding a completely revolutionary new piece to it that honestly sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie: high-energy lasers. So to really get it, you have to see how their defense tech is organized. It's broken down into these key areas, and we're going to focus on this life support and protection category. This is where you find the famous Iron Dome and its new partner, the Iron Beam. We've all heard of the Iron Dome, right? It's incredibly good at what it does, with a success rate floating around 90%. But here's the catch, and it's a big one: the cost. Every single interceptor missile costs $50,000 minimum, and that price tag is a major vulnerability, especially when you're up against a lot of cheap threats. And this is where you really see the massive leap forward. The new Iron Beam system, it's playing a whole different ballgame. Instead of a pricey missile, it fires a high-energy laser beam. The cost difference is just mind-blowing. The speed is instant, and the ammunition, well, as long as you got power, it's pretty much unlimited. $2, just let that sink in. That's what they estimate a single laser shot costs. A number like that completely flips the entire economic equation of air defense on its head. It turns what was a huge financial drain into, well, almost nothing. It's an absolute game changer against swarms of cheap rockets or drones. But, it's not a perfect weapon. Not by a long shot. The Iron Beam has some very real limitations. That laser doesn't work so well in bad weather. Think fog, heavy rain, even dust clouds. Its range is also much shorter, only about 10 kilometers. And of course, it needs a clear line of sight to the target. That's exactly why it's designed to work with the Iron Dome, not to replace it completely. So while Iron Beam handles the close-up threats, what about the really big, fast stuff coming from way up high? Well, that's where the Arrow 4 comes in. This is the top tier of the whole defense shield, and it's being built to take on the next major global threat: hypersonic missiles. We're talking about weapons that travel at insane speeds and can maneuver on the fly. It just goes to show they're preparing for threats at every single level. Okay, so we've covered the skies. Let's bring it back down to earth, because this revolution isn't just about missile defense. Israel is also rolling out an army of autonomous vehicles, and it's creating a battlefield where robots are sent in to do the most dangerous jobs. So, what are we looking at here? Well, you've got AI-assisted tanks like the Carmel, which can actually find and engage targets by itself. Then there are smaller, self-driving vehicles like the Jaguar that patrol borders. And they're even using those four-legged robots, the ones, to go scout out super dangerous places like booby trap tunnels. Each one is built for a very specific, very high-risk mission. And the whole point behind this robot army is pretty clear and simple. The main goal is to save human lives. By sending a machine into a building that might be rigged with explosives or a field full of mines, the idea is to bring casualty numbers way, way down. But, and this is a huge but, all of this raises some really deep ethical questions. As we start handing over life and death decisions to machines, we're wandering into a very murky gray area of accountability. I mean, who is actually in control when an AI pulls the trigger? And that's really the core problem. With a remote-controlled drone, you have a human operator somewhere who can be held responsible. But who gets the blame for a war crime committed by a fully autonomous AI? Is it the programmer who wrote the code? The commander who sent it out? The machine itself? There are no easy answers here. And make no mistake, this isn't just some philosophical debate for the future. It's happening now. International groups like the Stop Killer Robots campaign are pushing hard for new rules, and the United Nations is holding meetings to talk about what to do with these lethal autonomous weapons. This has become a serious global concern.
Okay, so beyond the battlefield tech and the tough ethical questions, there's another huge piece to this puzzle: the money. Israel's defense industry isn't just about its own national security anymore. It has become a global economic powerhouse.
You just have to look at the numbers. The revenue from just the top 3 Israeli defense companies shot up from about $15 billion in 2023 to nearly $18 billion in 2024. That kind of rapid growth is being fueled by a huge surge in international demand. And that demand is no accident. The entire industry is basically built from the ground up to be an export machine. It really has to be, because the domestic market in Israel is just too small on its own to support this level of research and production. Get this, a staggering 70% of everything Israel's defense industry makes gets sold internationally. That global reach doesn't just pay for more R&D, it cements Israel's position as a key player that's setting new standards for defense technology around the world. So, when you put it all together, what's the big takeaway here? Well, the trend is crystal clear. From laser shields to robot patrols, the future of warfare is becoming more precise, more automated, and more driven by artificial intelligence. And that leaves us with one last really big question to think about. As all this technology starts taking human soldiers out of the direct line of fire, does it actually make the world a safer place? Or does it just make the act of war more efficient? And maybe, just maybe, a little easier to start. Thank you so much for your time today. If you found this breakdown valuable, please do us a favor and like, share, and subscribe to the Global War Watch Network. It really helps us continue to bring you these kinds of analyses. And we really want to hear what you think. Share your thoughts on this whole evolution in warfare down in the comments below, and come join our community on social media. All the links for that are waiting for you in the description. We'll see you next time.